Have you ever done something that made you wonder if you were a sociopath? When I was 27, I lost my mom, my job, and my fiancé within 3 months. And I didn't break. I just went cold. It started with my mom. She had been sick for a while, but she still sounded like my mom every time she called. The last message she ever left me said, "Don't forget to eat and breathe. Everything else is optional." She passed in her sleep a few days later. At her funeral, I didn't cry. Not once. Everyone said I was being strong, but it felt more like I just hit a switch inside myself and shut everything off. Then 2 weeks later, my boss told me they were letting me go because I just didn't seem passionate anymore, which is funny because I'd been working overtime while grieving and not sleeping. But okay. And then came the final blow. My fiancé of 4 years sat me down and told me he wasn't sure he loved me anymore. Said I wasn't the same, that I had changed. I remember staring at him and thinking, you're absolutely right. He moved out the next day. And you know what I did? I baked brownies. I kid you not. I put on an apron, blasted a random playlist, and made brownies like it was a normal Wednesday. When the pan came out of the oven, I stood in my kitchen, eating one with a plastic fork, barefoot, and realized I felt nothing. Not sadness, not anger, nothing. That night, I went to bed and thought, maybe I'm broken, like clinically. I didn't cry for my mom. I didn't beg my fiancé to stay. I didn't even scream when I saw an eviction notice taped to my apartment door 2 weeks later because I couldn't pay rent without my job. Instead, I packed everything I owned into my tiny Honda Civic and drove to a motel an hour away. And then something shifted, because the day after I moved into that crusty motel room, I saw my ex had already posted a picture with another girl. Same dog, same couch. A caption that said, "Healing looks good on me." I stared at the post for a full 5 minutes, reread the caption, and then I did something questionable. I created a burner Instagram account, named it something dumb, like healingvibes_12, and I started following his girlfriend's business page. She sold homemade candles or some Etsy type crap, and I placed an order, just one. Then I left a glowing 5-star review, then a 4-star one, then a 3-star. By the time I got to 1 star, I had created 6 different fake accounts and left slightly passive-aggressive reviews like, "Smells like betrayal and bergamot." Not soy-based, just shady-based. Great for covering up the scent of infidelity. I didn't stop there. Over the next month, I posted short, cryptic stories with generic quotes like, "Some people will move on fast. Let them run. Karma isn't in a hurry." Just vague enough to avoid suspicion, but sharp enough to sting. He blocked me, of course, but his girlfriend never did. She DM'd me once asking, "Do I know you?" I responded, "No, but I know him." She ghosted me instantly. A week later, she posted a reel to her 400 followers that was just her crying into a bowl of melted wax, talking about feminine rage and energetic toxicity. That video? Yeah, I watched it about 15 times with popcorn, and for the first time in months, I felt something. Not joy, not relief, but something more dangerous. Control. It was like I had figured out a new way to feel okay. Not by healing, but by orchestrating the chaos from behind the scenes. One night, I told my best friend what I'd done. Every weird little detail. She sat there with wide eyes and then finally said, "Girl, I love you, but damn, are you okay?" And I just smiled and said, "Honestly, not at all." But that was the first time I'd said that out loud. After that, I slowly started letting go. I deleted the burner accounts, blocked them both for real, took the eviction as a sign to start over somewhere else. It took a long time, but sometimes I still think about those candle reviews and wonder, was that my rock bottom or was it survival? Because grief doesn't always look like sobbing on the floor. Sometimes it looks like a clean, quiet burn. So yeah, have you ever done something that made you wonder if you were a sociopath? Because I made a whole stranger cry over cinnamon-scented candles, and for a moment, it made me feel like I could finally breathe again.